Welcome to The Source with your host, Dr. C.T. Curry, and co-host Kobe Owens. News all across the nation. The Source. Stay in the loop in the city of Wilmington, Delaware. Work together for change in the community. A call to action to find the resources. The Source, the latest in news.
Good evening. This is Dr. Curry.
This is Kobe Owens.
And welcome to The Source. First, before we do anything, we want to wish every father a happy Father's Day. And go ahead, Kobe, you were going to say something?
Yeah, absolutely. Happy Father's Day to everyone. Hopefully, y'all getting the same love that we gave mothers last month. But hopefully, y'all getting some opportunity to relax and chill and be with your family.
Now, you said hopefully. I don't think so. There are people who were asking me, you mean this week is Father's Day week, this Sunday? People don't even know about Father's Day. But I want to say to all of you fathers who continue to do well and to be in a part of your children's lives, there are two things children will always remember about you, regardless of who you are as a father. They're going to always remember your presence, and they're going to remember your absence.
Mm-hmm.
What you do with them while you're with them, it matters. For those who are absent, they're going to remember that as well. But Kobe, there's a group of fathers that are missing. We often overlook them, and that's those great godparents, like yourself. You're a godfather of how many children?
Two.
Of two children, and I'm sure your checkbook reflects the fact that being a godfather is not cheap.
Mm-hmm. No, I definitely love spoiling them and everything. And then when they're with me, we eat good. We eat good.
Yeah.
But no, it's again, they're like family to me, right?
Yes.
They're two of my best friends' children. And again, when I hang out with them, honestly, I don't got to worry about politics, don't got to worry about anything. And they go everywhere with me. Yeah. They've been in parades, they've been to the White House.
Okay.
Anywhere I go, I take them with me just to give them the experience as well, too.
And that's why I made the comment that children remembers their father and mother, but moving to my Father's Day, their presence, what you do with them, the experiences that you give them, how you enlighten their lives. These things really do matter, Kobe. And I'm very grateful. And I'm proud of you that you have really been a part of their lives. Because I Christian babies quite often, and I tell the godparents, they should not be strange to you. Mm-hmm. If anything happens to the parents, they should naturally just be able to roll right over and be a part of your life because of the time that you spend with them. So I'm very grateful for Father's Day, and happy Father's Day to you as well.
Thank you, and happy Father's Day to you.
Thank you very much. I do want the crown, though, the crown that says the greatest
number one
father
dad
in the world. Because I love my little girl, but I'm sure I'm not the only father who does that. So again, happy Father's Day to all of you fathers who are part of your children's lives. Those fathers who are not, we're not going to spend time talking about them, but the godparents and the mentors and the people who are part of some young person's life. Happy Father's Day to you. Today we have so much going on, but before I get started, I just want to say these words, and I don't know if you know who made these words, but I want to say it and see how smart you are. Here it is. I and I only can solve all the problems of the world. Who do you think said that?
I think it was your president.
Now you want to put it on me. I don't understand, Kobe. How is it that the media is not repeating these words? Mm-hmm. He said he could solve all wars. Had he been president, it would not have been any. And now we've gotten another one that have started up. He said he can get in and solve the problem with Putin and with Zelensky, and it has not been solved. I alone. Mm-hmm. The world is on fire. Vote for me. I and I alone can put the fire out. And the world is doubly on fire right now. Not just not just foreign, but even domestically. Mm-hmm. What is going on?
This is crazy. And, yesterday was the big military parade that is costing us millions and millions of taxpayer dollars to celebrate Donald Trump's birthday.
Absolutely.
But then you look on a global stage and what's going on there. The war between Russia and Ukraine is carrying on. And you saw when the new Pope, who's an American, was sworn in as the new Pope or whatever, coordinated, I forget the proper term for them. You had world leaders clapping for Zelensky when they walked in. When Trump walked in, everyone was dead quiet. The same thing happened at the Pope's funeral as
Yeah,
well too.
yeah, I
The
remember that.
former Pope's funeral, that when Trump walked around that corner, I think one person clapped for him and shook his hand. When Zelensky walked around that corner, all world leaders stood up
Mhm.
as a sign of respect and clapped for him. So again, we're looked at as a laughing stock.
Yeah.
But on the national or international level, we are seeing more wars happen
Yeah.
now, which is going to do a few things for us. It's going to drive prices up for us.
Mhm.
It's going to send people from our communities
Mhm.
over to war, because it's
Mhm.
not Donald Trump Jr. going to war. It's not Eric Trump going to war.
Mm-mm.
It's our kids
Mhm.
who are going to be going over there and fighting a war for something that doesn't even have to do with us,
Right.
right? But because of the ultra wealthy's investments in some of these countries, they will be sent to war, unfortunately, and we will lose a lot of American lives.
So we can probably now confirm that when a person say only I and I alone can solve the issues of the world, they're lying.
Yes.
And I've been hearing some reports off record, but I've been hearing some reports that there are many Republicans who are now asking the president, because of this whole notion of deportation, asking him to send them data on the people that he is
Yes.
deporting. Because they now recognize in some of these swing states, definitely, and even in some of these red states where their money is going to be affected because of the people who do kind of work that some of them do, they're saying we need to know who you're deporting.
Yep.
Do you think that this will be a turn, or do you think this is just fluffer right now?
So actually, the president is crafting a ruling right now that he's going to put out, because he now wants to help the workforce. So now the farm hands, the people who are building houses. Again, we talked about this before when Florida did this and cracked down on it. Undocumented workers, right? At the end of the day, while they may not have come here legally, undocumented people are technically documented because they still go through immigration. They have metrics and everything, and they pay taxes.
Yes.
Right now, Donald Trump and his Homeland Security is using data from, guess where? The IRS, from tax receipts, to go after people who are just living their lives here in America. They're ripping children out of the hands of mothers.
That's horrible.
And then just leaving a child on the street for the community to take care of. But they're using the information from them paying their taxes, which they can't get benefits back from,
Right.
to go and arrest these people. They are creating, because Americans are lazy. I'm just going to be honest. We don't want to be out
And
in
listen,
the
it
fields.
isn't about, forget about lazy. I don't want to be out in the field. I don't want to do some of the work they do. And I'm very grateful that they're willing to come over at lesser wages and do the things that I just don't want to do. I think I've come past that. And not only but I send my child to school. We try to do better for ourselves. Not that we are better than them, but they're willing to do the work. And why are we letting maybe 1% of the 100% who may be criminals or who may do something wrong? Why do we allow them to set the tone for the national stage?
Oh, because the Republican Party uses that as a narrative, even though overwhelmingly in America, most killers are white, most rapists are white. Most violent crimes are committed by white men, right? But they're all lone wolves. Most mass shootings are committed by young white boys, right? But yet let a minority do it.
Right.
When the shooting took place and down in DC at the consulate, and the guy yelled "Free Palestine," they wanted to crack down on every Palestinian protester in the nation.
Right.
Well, what about the white guy who went into the grocery store up in Buffalo, New York,
Absolutely,
with the N-word written on the barrel of his gun and shot only black people? There was a scared older white man who was on the ground like, "Please don't shoot me." He said, "Oh no, I'm not here for you," and literally walked right past him.
Right.
Was there a mass crackdown? And that was under the Trump administration? No. So again, this is what we're dealing with right now. Internalized racism. Pretty much all I'm saying is Trump, his administration, Kristi Noem, ICE agents, they have taken off their hoods and they just wear federal officer
Yeah,
badges
and I even
now.
paid attention to some of the places he go now that he have made political, from the military and things. He
Hmm.
really is trying his best to make sure he become a monarch, because he's doing everything. And not so much we. I keep using the word we, but the Republicans are permitting it, and I hope there's a price that they pay, because for him to criminalize all of the immigrants because of what one or two may have done, you've really laid it out well. You shared where the majority of the crime is coming from, and there is no outpour for those communities, but it's only
Hmm.
an outcry for ours, I mean, for of those who are minorities or those who are immigrants in our country. And I think that that's just deplorable, and it's horrible.
Hmm.
I want to even stay in this area for just a little bit longer, and talk about the fact that Donald Trump and his regime is so focused. What they're doing in California, they want to build a scenario where the state is out of control
Hmm.
so that they can stay in control. The mayor, I think, is doing it right. People have criticized her. You only got 10% of our whole state, not even 10%. She said 1% of not the state, but the city
Hmm.
that experienced any violence. And for him to declare this being a state of emergency, or we have to bring in the troops, I'm glad the judge ruled the way he ruled.
Hmm.
Are you familiar with that situation?
Yeah, so not only the way he ruled, but also on Tuesday, they also ruled that Donald Trump has to turn power of the National Guard back over to the
Right,
governor
right.
of the state. The National Guard, all National Guards are usually under the governor. That's a part of one of their executive powers. And Trump used his federal power to militarize the National Guard and take control of them and send them into LA. He's sending in the Marines,
Marines, which are trained to kill. They're
which are
not.
trained
They're,
to
they're not
kill.
trained to have compassion. My father's a Marine,
Hmm.
and they kill. That's your enemy.
And
Kill
they're
him.
not supposed to operate
Yeah.
on U.S.
Right.
soil. And again, they're sending people in um, who are, again, I respect them, but
Mhm.
they're trained killers.
Right. Right.
And they're not trained in de-escalating protests.
Absolutely.
And there was a hearing at the U.S. Senate the other day, or U.S. House, where three governors were called in. Tim Walz from Minnesota, I wonder why, former vice president nominee. Governor J.P. Pritzker from Illinois,
Mhm.
and uh, Governor Kathy Hochul from New York, to talk about sanctuary cities. But it was complete grandstanding. They were asking them all different types of questions. But Brandon Grill from Texas was asking JB Pritzker about, oh, well, do you know this one individualized immigrant who came here undocumented and ended up killing someone? Should they be allowed into the country? And JP said, I don't know who that is. Come to find out, it was a Texas person. Well, they were in Texas when it happened. Um, but he talked about the benefits of having
Right.
immigrants come to this community and how they have, the vast majority have been very beneficial. And then they try to use the analogy, oh well, if you have one poison apple, would you still eat the whole bushel, not knowing which one's the poison apple? So when you look at things that way, right?
Mhm.
You get your implicit and explicit biases really start to show
Right.
to other people. Um, I just think this is very interesting to watch. We're literally watching a hostile takeover.
Yeah.
You're seeing a president take the National Guard. You're seeing the Department of Homeland Security disregard rule and law. They are literally walking up to people unidentified.
Right.
They don't even have the patches that say ICE or police anymore, with masks on because they don't want their identities to be shown, and snatching people off the street. There was a
Out
student
of
who was
Home
just
Depot.
walking from class back to her apartment who was snatched up.
Mhm.
Why? Because she tweeted about what was going on.
Right.
So again, this is a very sad reflection of our society right now.
Yeah, we are living in very treacherous times, and if it can happen to them, it can happen to us. It can happen to you. For those of you who watch us, we have so much we have to report on today, but honestly, the world is on fire. The country is on fire. Trump has shook up this whole situation. The Republicans have permitted it. This is one time when I'm going to say this, and I don't say this often. I'm proud to be a Democrat because we would never permit this. Even if it was a Democratic president, it would become, no, you got to do what's right. We would speak up. Because democracy says people have rights. And that's what democracy is, giving people rights. And our Constitution is what we should be guided by. And for these Republicans to be standing by and allowing Trump to do what he is doing is just unbelievable. I hope there's a price to pay. I hope that the House flips, not just, I don't want it to flip where they're now the majority, meaning the Democrats, but I want it to flip to a place where they're the super majority so that some things can happen, such as impeachment. Because he has to go. He cannot spend, because you know what his attitude is? His attitude is, do it, and let's just deal with the courts later.
Yep.
Which means a lot of stuff is being unraveled. And because it's being unraveled, we're just falling apart. And we're falling apart at our stream. It's going to be hard putting this back together. I don't care how good the next president is. It's going to be hard pulling this back together. So I know we spent a lot of time in the front end of our show talking about this, but it's really, for real, what's going on right now. And I know you have a lot going on with the Kobe Corner, and we'll get back to some of this. But I do have one local thing I want to make sure that we grab for this show, because I do like to always start with the local, but it's just only I and I alone can solve it. Only I and I alone. And people bought it. And then there were people like some of these folks that I've heard talking about, I ain't voting for no Democrat. Shame on you. Shame on you. But let me jump to the local news real quick and just speak about this one parent, because this made headline. You know, the person is in Elkton, Maryland, and but it happened. It was affected Delaware as well. But the 3-year-old baby. I mean, that's deplorable. That's horrible. I mean, I don't know whether she has a mental issue or what, and then the racism she injected in it, saying it was a white man held her at gunpoint. Why take the child and not her? I don't understand the whole scenario. Corby, help me.
So earlier this week, a Amber Alert hit everywhere, and everyone shared that. A 3-year-old girl was apparently kidnapped from her mom at gunpoint on the side of the road. The mom pulled over to yell at the daughter, and a white man came up and took the daughter. There was some debate on Facebook about that as well too. People were sharing it to try to find the young girl, but some of the comments were, "No, they would have had to shoot me if they was my kid.
Kill me." Got that right.
I wouldn't have been able to tell y'all all this detail. But the interesting thing of how detailed that story was, and again, just knowing some background, it is very hard when you're in a stressful situation like that to get that much detail, right? The next day, it comes out that the mom was lying. And now that it went from a kidnapping investigation to a homicide investigation, because they believed that the mom had killed the daughter and was making this story up. Later on Wednesday, the Maryland State Police located human remains of a young child in a vacant lot in, I think it was Northeast Maryland, is the city of Northeast Maryland. And then they put out a release later that night confirming that the remains belong to the young Nola Dinkins. And that, you know, they were now going to be charging the mother, who I believe is 31. And they were looking
she's 41.
I thought the boyfriend was 40.
I think she's the oldest.
She's the oldest.
41.
And then the 40-year-old boyfriend they were looking for. I don't know if they've detained him yet, but they did have the mother in custody. They are both going to be charged with first and second degree murder. But as they're looking more and more into this case, they said that apparently the daughter was beaten, and then her body was put into a suitcase.
Oh my God.
I don't condone violence whatsoever, but there are some sick people in this world. And this mother is one of them. And I'm sure that people aren't going to take kindly to this where she's being held as well.
Yeah.
This was an innocent 3-year-old. It's nothing that a 3-year-old can do to you that will make you want to kill them. Now you may want to cuss at them.
Yeah.
You may want to yell at them.
You may want to spank them, but you don't want to kill them.
You don't want to do that. And
so it's a mental issue going on.
It's a mental issue, but this is also goes to the point, some people just are not fit to be parents.
Yeah. And I'll say this as we get ready to go to our commercial break, that I am totally against the death penalty. And I'm just going to be honest. I am against it. Two of my brothers were killed, and I stayed against the death penalty. But when you mess with children and seniors, it tugs at me. And I'm not saying I'm for it now, but it tugs at me because that was an innocent child. Her whole life was before her. Could have become the next president, the next astronaut, the one who solved world peace. And for the mother, and I don't know what role the father is playing in this yet. We have not gotten more details. To take that baby's life, and we have a daycare, and these kids know how much I love them, and their parents know this as well. But for that mother to do what she did and lie, she needs to be cooked slow, and I'll leave it there. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and I'm sorry we ended on this note, but we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to come right back.
Smiles are powerful. A simple smile can light up a whole room. And for 25 years, Smile Train has been lighting up the world with smiles. And each smile marks a step towards a brighter future. As the world's largest cleft lip and palate charity, Smile Train has supported more than 2 million life-changing cleft surgeries in over 90 countries, leaving a legacy of resilience, joy, and beaming smiles for generations of children. To learn more about cleft lips and palates and how Smile Train is supporting the cleft community all over the world, please visit smiletrain.org/learn. Smile Train, lighting up the world with smiles for 25 years.
As a mom, I want my kids' lives to be filled with joy and possibility, and I want that for every kid. That's why I support No Kid Hungry. They work in schools and communities to make sure every kid gets the healthy meals they need. Please join me in supporting No Kid Hungry for all kids.
Thank you!
Join us live for our weekly worship. Every Sunday at 9 a.m. on Facebook and YouTube.
Well, Pastor, I'm doing the best I can, but I still gotta have a little Chardonnay, and I still gotta have a little this, and I gotta still sneak around. The devil is a liar. That's an excuse.
Wilmington's most exciting church.
Christopher Holton. I'm very active. It was a Saturday morning. Normally I go for my normal walk.
With no warning, Chris suffered a near-fatal heart attack. But thankfully, Brian Buckley, a bystander, saw him collapse and rushed to help.
He did this big gasp for air and then just stopped. It's like I went into autopilot. It's like all that training I did back in the day around CPR just magically came out of nowhere.
Because of the CPR training that Brian received, Chris did make it and didn't die on the trail that day. CPR training provided by the American Heart Association.
Looking at your hands, these two hands could save a life.
Being a father, you want to be around. You want to be around for your kids.
Heart disease is America's #1 killer. To learn more about how the American Heart Association helps save lives, Go to helpheart.org.
And we're back. Kobe, what's going on? You mean you got more news other than what we've already talked about?
Listen, it's a lot going on right now, but kind of piggybacking off of what we just talked about, with the ICE agents and everything like that, and the Marines being on standby in LA. It has been a showdown for the last few weeks between the governor of California and President Trump.
And he's not scared of them.
And he's not scared of them. But we have seen protests ongoing in Los Angeles because of these inhumane immigration taxes that the Department of Homeland Security is using. But I really wanted to highlight yesterday there was a press conference going on with the Secretary of Homeland Security, former Governor Kristi Noem, in Los Angeles, in a federal building, in a federal office, and a federal statewide elected official in his home state, Alice Padilla, who's the former Secretary of State for California. He was selected to be the senator once Vice President Harris became vice president. He attended the meeting, and in the meeting, he identified himself and said, "I'm Senator Alex Padilla, and I have questions for the secretary." As soon as he said those words, she motioned and had her goons first come over to him and grab him. And he said, "I'm a U.S. Senator, I'm a U.S. Senator." And they pushed him out of the office. He pushed back after a while and said, "Wait, no, I'm a U.S. Senator. I'm allowed to be here." It's a part of their job is to be able to go into detention facilities. They're supposed to be given access if they show up announced or unannounced, right? They pushed him out the room, and then soon as they got away from the cameras, so they thought, they threw him to the ground. 3 officers threw him to the ground, put their knees on his back, and arrested him. Put him in handcuffs, and he was yelling, "You got to get off me. I'm a U.S. Senator. You cannot arrest me. I did nothing wrong." This is what fascism looks like. This is a president and his henchmen, Kristi Noem, using their powers to silence the opposition. This isn't a farm worker. This isn't a single mother. This isn't just a somebody on the side of the road. This is a U.S. Senator, one of the most powerful people in the nation, someone who votes on their budget. They are completely disregarding and arresting. After this action, U.S. senators and Democratic House members went to the U.S. Majority Leader's office, Thune, to talk to him about what are you doing to protect a U.S. senator. Regardless of what party they come from, it's your responsibility, and you control security and everything for U.S. senators. You know this was wrong. You know members of your caucus did this to Biden, and they were not treated like this. This is not how it should be done. So again,
and what did he do?
He has not done anything yet.
I want to make sure I answer that question. That's why he's listening.
But the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, he called for the actions of Senator Padilla to be censored by the U.S. Senate, saying that he's the one going to escalate conflict between residents and the federal government, and that by him doing actions like that, more National Guardsmen may need to be deployed to the area to make sure that they can keep the peace, which is real funny because all of them says that January 6th was peaceful protesters. What's happening in LA is peaceful protests that are being demonized and having a National Guard. But that's nothing new because we know the same thing happened here when a bunch of minorities congregated to talk about something, injustice that we were seeing in 2020. And our version of Donald Trump, Mike Pizicki, decided to call in the police force, wanted to call in the fire department to hose us down and everything. And it's very interesting because he didn't do that for the protests he spoke at that turned violent and led to things being broken up. It's our modern day January 6th, our version here in Wilmington. So again, us here in Wilmington, we know how to deal with Donald Trump because we had 8 years of Mike Pizicki.
I'm gonna test to that.
So again, this is scary. But again, if you don't believe in what they believe in, then they want to silence you, they want to discredit you, and they want to use their power, they want to abuse their power to do that. So again, as we continue to follow this story and follow up, this isn't the first elected official that has been detained by the federal government. They had a mayor in Jersey, Roz,
Yes, I remember that.
the mayor of Newark, was detained by ICE. You had a congresswoman who, while he was being detained, she was standing there and an ICE agent came over to her and pushed her, and now she's being indicted for assaulting an officer. Even though on video, you have the video of her getting pushed, not the officer. So again, this is very concerning, but we will see what happens from here as we follow this story to the fullest. Next, I'm going to talk about some local stuff. So on Thursday of this week, County Exec Matt Myers signed his budget, right? The
Not
county
county
budget.
exec, county exec.
Or not Matt Myers, Marcus Henry, sorry.
Okay, that's all right.
Signed his budget. And again, the budget is a $340 million operating budget. It does have some increases in it, but property taxes was not increased. But also at the same time, Newcastle County Council approved unanimously the use of speed cameras. Now, DC has speed cameras everywhere now. And it's going to be a pilot program. The first 5 months is a pilot program before they roll it out countywide. But they're going to start along Milltown Road first. And it's going to cost about $28,000 for those 5 months, about $7,000 per month. But if you are going more than 11 miles over the speed limit, you will get a ticket. No cop will have to chase you.
Oh, wow.
The tickets will be sent to a database in which the police review, and then they will issue the tickets then.
And don't walk by that too fast for those of you who are watching, because the pastor is a little shaken by this a little bit because he's always in a hurry. But don't take that lightly. I'm gonna be honest with you. The police will only review to ensure that is the right numbers on the vehicle and things of that nature. But if you're getting past that 11-mile mark, you're going to find yourself with a lot of tickets. The only thing I'm not clear on, because I know DC is doing it, will they be able to point your license, or that's the owner of the car just got to pay for the speeding?
It's I believe it depends on how the state law is. It depends on how many tickets you get. Then the points start to accrue.
Okay.
But then also, so DC, the biggest issue with DC speed cameras is they have multiple on the same block. So they may have one on, I'm just making up numbers, 15th Street, right? And you're going down Washington Ave, and then they have another on 13th. If you're speeding at both of them,
oh wow,
that's two. I think theirs is like $50 tickets, right? So now you just got $100. They oversaturated it down there, and they oversaturated in minority communities where Jeff Bezos has his mega mansion down there and everything. There's not a speed camera within 3 miles of that place. So again, well, a few miles, but it is going to be very concerning of where they're going to place these and everything and how it's going to be used. And I'm letting y'all know right now, if any of my council colleagues get the bright idea to want to bring this to the city, I'm finna fight against it. I'm not saying I don't want the city to be safer, but again, we have seen how these have been criminalized in minority communities. We see how our red light cameras have been put in minority communities, not in the white communities.
We took it out of South Ridge because they had one over here in South Ridge.
And how it has created a true burden on our community. I don't want them in the city of Wilmington, because, to be honest, everyone speeds,
Mm.
regardless of your
And
race.
I'm just gonna confess, I do.
Everyone
Keep
speeds,
me in
but they
prayer.
always put it in the minority
Yes.
communities, who usually have less money to pay tickets
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
Very similar to how they do parking as well too.
Yeah.
But I won't talk about that today. So we're gonna keep an eye on this. It is set to roll out later this month to get the first cameras out. So over the next few months, we'll see how it all goes with Newcastle County, and then we'll update you where new locations are going to be added as well too. But as of right now, it's only going to be on Milltown Road.
Where's Milltown Road?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Okay,
I
well,
don't know
let's
that
find
road.
out. Milltown Road. We're gonna
Um,
find out where that is so that I can make sure I'm not on that road.
So yeah, definitely keep an eye out. It is very similar to the speed cameras that they use for the 95 construction up here in Wilmington and out there in Newark as well too. So again, just keep an eye on it and watch your speed limits as well too. It's okay to slow down a little bit. Just leave a little bit earlier,
Yeah.
and you'll be fine.
All right.
Next, I want to talk about council updates. So we have a council meeting. It's going to be on Wednesday, the 18th, not Thursday, the 19th, because the 19th is Juneteenth, this upcoming week. So again, it's on Wednesday. I will be introducing two pieces of legislation that deals with housing. So the first one hopefully isn't as controversial in everyone's eyes. The first one is a piece to create a down payment and closing cost settlement program for educators who work in city schools and want to live in the city of Wilmington. It's called the Anchor Program. So again, working to be anchored in the community that you're serving. They're probably going to change the name, but that is, for me, I think is very huge, because as we talk about teacher retention, teacher pay, getting better schools for the city of Wilmington, hey, we can't do it all, right? The city has very little power in what actually happens in the operations of the school, but this helps us try to recruit the good teachers to be in the city of Wilmington, especially if you're not getting paid well. You have a better opportunity of getting a house in the city of Wilmington now if you're teaching in Wilmington school. So that gives us another leg up outside of 21st century funding, opportunity funding, and stuff like that. So again, it's a 10-year forgivable loan program, up to $15,000 from our side, trying to work with some other entities to see if they will be willing to match as well too, so that we could get to maybe $30,000 or $40,000 down payment, or take out the whole down payment for you. You just assume the mortgage. This is going to help young teachers who are starting out, but then also some of those teachers who have been doing great work in the schools already, who want to transition from renting to owning as well too, and they would be paying less in a mortgage than their rent right now. So that is the first piece. The second piece is the one that I know is going to get more pushback from the landlord association, maybe even from the mayor's administration, and that is pre-rental inspections for rental dwellings. This is going to amend Chapter 5 and 34 to require that before you rent out a piece of a property, it has to be inspected and certified that is up to code. This will help fix problems such as what we saw over on North Adams Street. But then also this will help us be able to hold slumlords accountable here in the city of Wilmington to increase the quality of their work.
I really would like to know what kind of questions. You said this is Wednesday. I'm gonna try to see if I can go, or at least tune in, because I just don't know what kind of questions a person would ask not to support that with all that's going on.
So it's just first and second reading. So it's just being introduced. So it won't be any debate on that. The next, it will be debated in committee, which is community development and urban planning. I believe that is the 23rd of the month. is that Nets meeting. So
You
again,
chair that committee?
no, Maria Cabrera, Councilwoman Maria Cabrera chairs it. So again, we are looking forward to having this debate and having people come out on it, but we'll see how it goes with this. So again, that's two pieces that I'm going to be introducing. There's also some other legislation that's being introduced by Councilwoman Oliver. Again, changing some official job duties for city employees. There's going to be one about the land bank as well too, requiring council's approval via resolution to appoint board members to the land bank of director. That is a huge.
That is big. So currently, just the mayor appoints.
No, well, yes, the mayor has some, based off their positions, have people who go on the board. The city council has 3 council members who go on the board: council president, finance chair, and the chair of community development and urban planning. Then that board, the rest of the board, who's appointed by the governor, they come together and they appoint the other at-larges. Now it has to come to the city council for our approval on who gets to go on that board. And that's being done by Councilwoman Oliver. There's also ordinance, again, from Councilman Johnson in regards to military leave. So again, being more flexible for individuals who have to go on military leave. And then the big one is the another ordinance from Council President Congo that officially establishes the Office of Educational Advocacy as a division of City Council. And that's going to be
How would
presented.
that work?
So we hired a director, we created the position, but now we want to make it a stable, permanent position, right? So it's just like any other division under council, our comms, our legislative, the Office of Educational Advocacy will be a division under council going forward. WITN is another division of ours. So this would just be adding it as a permanent office under us. And then if council wants to get rid of it, then they have to go through legislation to get rid of it, not just they can't hire someone.
Yeah. Now, who's currently serving in that role?
Her name is Dr. Laretha Ogabori. Everyone knows her as Dr. O. I am sorry if I just butchered your last name. But she is the former, I believe, headmaster of Great Oaks Charter School.
Okay. All right.
So she just started earlier in May.
And y'all hired her?
Yes, council hired her. And again, she just got started. She's already having meeting with people. So if you're interested in meeting with her, please reach out to me. And my email is cjowens, OWENS, at Wilmington, spelled out, DE.gov.
Okay. Now I heard you say CJ.
Yes.
What is the J for?
My middle name.
And what's that?
Jaron.
Jaron?
Jaron.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You look like a Jaron.
And for people who are reaching out and sending emails to cowens at wilmingtonde.gov, there is another C. Owens. I have not met them. So that is not my email. I do apologize because I have run into a few people who be like, yeah, I've been emailing you. You haven't responded.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, well, what email did you send it to? And they say C. Owens. I was like, oh, that's not me. But forward me the email. I'll get working on whatever it is.
As a matter of fact, that's important because some people will use that against you. That I've sent him 12 emails and they'll see C. Owens. But is the person name same as yours, Kobe?
No.
Or is it something else, like Charles?
It's something else.
Charles Owens or something like that.
I think they're in the public works department. I don't know.
Well, we want to get that right. So I hope that you'll put it on the screen and put on there CJ Owens at WilmingtonDE.gov.
Yep.
That's important, and I'm glad you were able to make that clear because people will be coming. I went to Kobe, and he told me he was going to help me, and he didn't even respond to my email. We want to make sure that's taken care of.
But yeah, no. Again, feel free to reach out to me. And when people have let me know that I've gotten right to work on whatever they had been emailing me about.
So over there in the first district, you got somebody representing them now?
They do.
Okay, that's
They
what I make sure.
do.
Because I know you. I didn't know whether you were Donald Trump. Only I and I alone. You was campaigning on that I could fix this.
No.
But you didn't say only I. But you said you could fix something.
I said we finna fix some things.
Oh, you did say we.
And we've got a lot of things done. It's still a long laundry list of things that still need to get done that is going to take a little more time than we originally thought, but we got funding for parks that hadn't got funding in a long time. Fixed equipment, got new trash cans up, fixed potholes, fixed potholes. There's so many potholes, and there's still a lot left. I think I sent in a list of almost 30. About 22 of them have been filled.
Oh, that's good.
Already. We still have some major ones that is going to take a lot more work to get done because it's tearing people's cars up.
Yeah.
And then just getting some of the street lights on. We had a red light that was out for almost 2 years. Actual like red, yellow, green light that was out for 2 years. It's back on, right? And again, the city wasn't even aware of it from the council side of it. They were like, oh, no council person ever reached out about it. And at the time, we had 3 council people living in the first district, all close to that road as well, too. My former opponent, but Councilwoman Maria Cabrera also lived right down the street, and Councilman Al Mills. And none of them had actually reached out to Public Works about that. So once I did, we were able to get that light back on within 2 weeks.
Wow. Before we leave this segment, I do want to say for those of you who have been asking, you've been coming and sending in emails, you've been also calling the church regarding the senior housing that we are providing or building for our seniors. I am very grateful to tell you we are 98% completed. We're at a place where we're getting ready to do the final touchings. And as we get more information, I want to make sure that the community is well aware. Now, there's only 10 units that we will probably have in this house, this project, but this is going to be a model. We're going to be doing more of this. I was asking God, what else can I do beyond the preaching in the pulpit, beyond the things that you have seen us do? And I think this is an area that he wants me to continue in, and that is making sure we provide housing, adequate housing. And when you see, we're going to have an open house. I want you to come see. When you see what we've done for our seniors, Kobe, they worked hard. They lived the life. They deserve to have some decency at some point, especially in their senior years. And that was our attitude here at Zion Fair. And I can't wait to give you and some of the council members a tour of this facility. I mean, it's going to be a secured place. They put screens in. It made the place look even better already.
I mean, can't wait.
The doors are coming up and the apartments are just beautiful. So I'm looking forward to that. And when it's time for the application, just know it's going to be a lottery system. We're not going to say, oh, Zion Fair members, you're going to get this. I want it to be fair. Quite natural. There's an interest here from Zion Fair, but there's an interest in the community too. And I think everybody have a right, but we're only dealing with 10 units. So I hope and trust that when the time comes, we're going to announce it here. We're going to announce it out in public that, we're going to get this lottery started. You'll be able to do the application. And Kobe, there will be an application fee, but it won't be one that they can just, it's going to be so big that it's going to cost some real money, but we have to pay people to be able to go through and do the things that we have to do. So I don't want you getting on the source talking about Zion Fair and took all these people money and they only had 10 units. I'm telling you now, it's only 10 units. We will take the applications and put your name in. And once we start drawing them, we are planning to move that forward. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
How you doing, community? I'm Alexander Hackett, and I'm here today to talk about Community Staffing Agency. I am the owner of an educational staffing firm, and what we do is we staff all the schools in Delaware with substitute teachers, paraprofessionals, janitorial, and even substitute nurse. So if you have a school and you need our services, please contact me. But also, if you're in the community right now and you're looking for a job, please find me. And the way you can find me is by visiting communitystaffingagency.com, but also get into my direct line, 302-252-8982. Please contact me, please reach out. If you need assistance with your school or if you're looking to get into school, Community Staffing Agency is the place to be.
Hey, this is Pastor Curry, pastor of the Zion Fair Baptist Church, Wilmington's most exciting church, the church that love ya and anything you can do about it. What we're going to do today is we're going to have a real good conversation. I'm excited. every Sunday at 11 a.m. Why don't you call somebody real quickly? Tell them Coffee with Curry is on. And let's get after it.
This land is your land. This land is my land.
This land we love belongs to all of us. Yet not everyone is treated equally. Right now, millions of Americans are fighting for the things promised to all by the Constitution. Freedom, justice, equality. The ACLU is leading the fight to protect our civil liberties. Together, we can protect and advance our rights nationwide, because we the people means all of us.
This land was made for you and me.
Learn how the ACLU is defending the right to vote, free speech, and other civil liberties at myaclu.org.
Hey, boss. Okay.
I said I'm fine.
Me the bed, see you in the morning. With the first did Superman, but it wasn't on it. And we lost it.
You can talk to me.
It's been really, really hard for me.
And we're back. Good show today, Kobe. I think that we've really covered a whole lot. The anger of I and I alone kind of took over most of our show, where Donald Trump basically said the world would not be on fire if he was president. He's been president. Now he has to own it. The economy is in the trash. The morale is in the trash. So much is going on across the world. He has no influence. Even Israel has opened up a new war with Iran. That's going to be interesting to see how that all turns out. And I heard some people were killed. When I say some people, some of the top leadership of Iran was killed in this strike that happened. But the part of the politics today I want to just really hone in on is the Senate and the House. Do you still feel confident that the House is going to flip?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I believe that not only will the House flip, but we will probably see a net of maybe 10 to 15 seats.
How many do we need to be supermajority?
Supermajority is close to 30.
Okay. Because I want to be able, if they decide to, well, no, it's
you just need the majority.
Yeah, to impeach.
Yeah.
But over there in the Senate, you need the 60 to be able.
You need the 60, which I don't think either side is getting to the 60 anytime soon. I think, you saw Elon Musk come out last week and admit that the Senate would be 51-49 if it wasn't for him illegally buying 2 additional Senate seats, one in PA and one in Michigan, and one in Ohio. So again, we knew we were losing West Virginia. We knew it was going to be a tough fight in Montana, where one of my favorite senators unfortunately lost, John Tester. But again, this is the reality, and I don't think Elon's going to pick the money up like he did last time, and the Republican Party is going to struggle. So again, I think we may pick up 2 seats as of right now to make it 51-49, but I don't see the Senate flipping just yet. Now, if they pass this bill how it's written right now, and people start feeling the impacts of the funding cuts, the Senate
How many
will
seats
flip.
are up for? It's 23.
33 are up each year, and 1 year is 34 because it's 100. But I believe this is a 33 seat year.
And the Republicans are strong. They have less seats up. Is that what it is? Or they're in red districts so strong that
No, it's a lot of red seats up. So Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, states like that.
But they seem to be a little bit secure unless something dramatic happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just with voter registration and everything, those seats are pretty secured. It's the Maine's, the North Carolinas, Texas is now in play. I would say Ohio may ever be in play. Florida may be in play, right? But Democrats also have to hold in like Georgia, Virginia, which would probably be the two hardest states. New Jersey probably as well too. That's Cory Booker. He should be fine. But the other states that are up are Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma. So those are solid seats. Iowa, depending who wins the Democratic primary out there, we may have a good fight on our hands out there as well.
Now, the question, and I like this segment of our show, the question I'll now raise is, with the two women who are independent pretty much, can they just declare, I'm going to caucus with the Democrats, or do they have to go through their party to do that?
No, so just like Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema left their party and became independents, both of them could do that, and then they have a choice of what side they want to caucus with. So even though Sinema and Manchin last term decided to become independents, they still caucused with the Democrats. So both Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins can do that. Susan Collins is up for election, so I highly doubt she would do that.
But you have to do it. You could do it after you win.
Yes. Yep.
So if it's a 50-50, then it becomes that one of them can decide, you know, I can't take this no more, and if they're going to retire, because I know after they do something like that, it would be death, like a death penalty. But some of the people who are retiring, who's supposed to have such moral fiber, I'm shocked that they are really letting Trump still intimidate them to the level they're intimidating.
Listen, he must have something on all of them. I'm interested to see, you know, who finally takes a stand and says, all right, you've gone too far. Enough is enough. We're shutting
on the
this
Senate
down.
side or on the House side?
On the Senate side.
Yeah.
On the House side, I think because they're up every 2 years, they know it's easier for them to be replaced. The Senate, you have 6 years.
Okay.
So either if you start with a fight, you got 4 years to make up for some things.
Well, I don't know. And then Elon Musk decided, I want to apologize to Daddy for being disrespectful. What do you think led to that?
I think he threatened to pull some of those federal contracts from him. He said, all right, let me calm down.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
What kind of is there any true evidence of what type of drugs he's taking?
No.
So he's taking something.
Yeah, he's taking something.
Because he was hype, and I was really enjoying it, because I felt, you know what, he can cause Trump to lose people because he can support other candidates. But they calmed him down quickly.
Yep. He cares about money at the end of the day.
Yeah,
money drives him.
And to my understanding, the Tesla stock went up a little bit too.
Yep.
So I guess he's just back in the ship.
Yep.
But
he's not back in the White House like he was.
Oh, he's not going to go back in the White House.
No.
They're not going to do that. Well, I don't know how it all going to fare out, but what I do know is that we're going to stay on it, and we're going to continue to talk about it. Now, I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you who continue to watch us. I want to ask you to please go to YouTube. Make sure that you're following us. Make sure you're part of our community. I know that we're on Channel 28 as well. We're still waiting to see what the outcome is going to be on Channel 28. And but go to YouTube in the meantime. Just type in Zion Fair Baptist Church. Go to the source. It comes on at 5 o'clock. It's there. But once you click follow, what'll happen is it'll send you an email, and all you got to do is click the email and listen to and watch us on the source. We have other shows as well. We have our Coffee with Curry that comes on every Sunday at 11 a.m. And then we also have our Hour of Power, which comes on every Sunday at 8 a.m. And I'm enjoying all of the shows that we have here. Please utilize YouTube, utilize Facebook, as we are still trying to figure out what's going on with Channel 28. Kobe, is there anything else left on your corner?
That's all I have for today.
Well, if that's all you have, that's all I have. I want to wish every father, every man who helped some child, happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day, everyone.
God bless.
Take care, y'all.
You've been watching The Sword with host Dr. C.T. Curry and co-host Kobe Owens. Tune in every Sunday at 5 p.m. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for the latest episodes.